I don't know. He didn't pop back on yet.
Never good either, right? Well, what the fuck is this? Oh,
What does that mean? This meeting is being live streamed.
how is it? You're
Just
live.
means it's going
You're
through the
live,
internet.
Spongy.
Yeah, internet live.
Where's Fox Chris? We'll give him a second. So what do you see right now?
Your
What do you mean?
face, your one eyeglasses, your bookshelf, your beard.
All right, Spongy. What do you see? You see some nips?
There we go.
All right. I know you like that. I know you be nipping hard. All right. So pretty much everything, for the most part, comes back to the age-old argument of nurture versus nature, right? Basically what it is. But everyone gets trapped and thinks what? It's all their fault. It's so complicated. All right, so I guess what do you think, Bob? You always think it comes back to toxic shame?
Always. Toxic internalized shame. I like that better.
A little deeper of a dagger. You would like that. You probably like fucking sex novels too. Deep detail.
I don't think I ever read one.
Me neither. I have to imagine they're thick though. I use the word novel. Not novelty.
By the way,
What?
there's a book, a best-selling book called The 5-Second
Pop back
Rule.
on yet? The 5-second what?
Rule.
Huh. Figures.
Oh, what the fuck is this? Oh, sorry.
However, she doesn't mean it the same exact way you do. In her case, it's when you can't seem to get motivated, you can't seem to move out of bed, stuff like that. You count down from 5 to 0, and you immediately do what you were planning to do. But procrastination and worry and stuff like that was holding you back. That way you do.
That's
But
pretty much it.
in her case, it's when you can't seem to get motivated, you can't seem to move out of bed, stuff like that. You count down from 5 to 0, and you immediately do what you were planning to do. But procrastination and worry and stuff like that was holding you back.
Yeah, that's the same thing.
Way you do.
That's
But
pretty much it.
But it's not about the pounce
Right.
like you talk about it.
No, you can't. You can't because you're still crippled, right? You don't have any momentum. Right?
That's exactly what happened to her, though. She went from originally talking at just one like a union get together. She was scared shitless to the point after a few years she could barely find an opening in her calendar. She was making big money. She was traveling all over the United States, and turned into a career for her. And her latest book, which I happen to have right here, is called The Let Them Theory, which is #1 on the nonfiction bestseller list currently. You want to know her name?
I got a pen in my hand, Spongy Nuts.
What's that?
I got a pen in my hand.
Mel, although that's short for Melanie, but she goes by Mel Robbins, Robbins.
Not Sponge, not SpongeBob. You driving?
Am I driving?
No, Chris.
No.
We know if you were driving, Bob, it is stress free. This guy doesn't get stress loops anymore driving. Just ask him.
I wouldn't go that far, but I'm much better.
Hey, yeah, I'm driving. I just figured out how to get this to work.
Look at you.
You like my new avatar?
Yeah. Look at you showing us your rear end, one cheek. We don't even got both buns in us.
It's a BMW, right? It's a 540.
Yeah. We got the one cheek showing. The one tail light. All right, so Bob, yeah, okay. So look at you're right, there's a difference, okay? People that are very paralyzed and crippled with stress and what's going on, they have no shot of going to sprint full throttle and slay the dragons of change, right? What they do need to do is get some baby steps and some, achievables of actions and momentum, right? Of breaking the cycle they're in. I don't care if it's you just going to get the mail. I don't care if it's you, drinking less fucking soda, if it's this, if it's that, making subtle changes that amount to something bigger later, right? But every day matters, every choice matters, every decision of something that enables positive momentum or gives you an excuse of bullshit and actually sets you back, right? So the difference between people that are happier down the road, what are they doing? They're making the tough decisions in the now, right? They don't do what they want every fucking decision. They do what they need. They do what the future version of them will be happy with, right? But how do you do that? Well, you got to get back to action one, right? Is how you trigger a fucking avalanche, one way or another, right? It's just whether or not you can keep the momentum and make it what you want, or it becomes some bullshit fluke. And you go back to the narrative in your head, you're not good enough, sit there, don't do anything, and complain about it. It's the freaking truth with it, man. Right? It's the same thing as the person that can't get off their ass and they want to, for whatever reason, right? They have no energy. They're lazy. They're sleeping. They're depressed. They're unmotivated. All this fucking shit. The weather, blah 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 blah. One random day they wake up and it's gone. Right? What was it? And if it was the weather, it wasn't the weather. The weather gave them a decision or an idea in their mind to make it a decision. Say, oh my God, it's gone. Today's the day. I feel better. Let's go. I wasted the whole previous how many months? It was just a relative snapshot of holy fuck, I lost time. It didn't fix you. You fixed yourself in your mind to jump. It's the goddamn truth. Right? Tell me how much medication that's out there for people or all these things, right? Even therapy, even all this shit, dude, it's inefficient in the way of it makes it convenient enough for the individual, for the environment, maybe both, right? And at the end of the day, the person just didn't know how to be indifferent and not give a fuck, right? And have confidence in social situations and not be affected by the people in the environment. That's the truth, man. And in that process of how you get stressed in environments and triggered by shit, that comes from your household. You were groomed for that behavior. I bet you can go back to being a kid and you're going to find the same template, man. Right? And it's just been playing out over time in different cycles. And somehow it comes back and you're confused. But eventually you look in the mirror and you go, holy fuck. How did this happen? I became exactly what you're running from. Boom. Holy fuck. Yeah. Right? You only got so much time. You go through the cycles of distraction, of running and escaping. I don't care what it is. Go stack up all your trophies that mean so much to you. I don't give a fuck. Right? That's your reason that you're doing something to justify something else. I'm not saying you can't win those trophies and still be an authentic sovereign state individual. Imagine if you were, and then you went back and did those same things. How much better would you have been? Right? So it's not about the shit in the past. It's about realizing where it was, realizing how it could even been better, right? And then really, what do you do moving forward that sets it off? And those are the people that can wrap their mind around shit that you can do a decade of change in 6 months, right? You could do 40 years of change in 2 days. right? If you finally just did something that paralyzed you your whole life that you were scared of. It's the fucking truth, man. So, when you're going through stuff and people get, you know, high energy transfer and you get motivated from outside sources, right? And even if you're getting excited by yourself, but you got to trick yourself, like, okay, I'm not qualified to talk here. I'm not qualified to say anything. It's because, imagine listening to a loud radio to get amped up to run, right? But then you're trying to talk to yourself at the same time. You can barely hear it, man. The music's fucking loud, right? But that's what it's like when you're working through shit. And we have to push through enough fucking time to let the dust settle so then we can start to actually have some words of value because we have clarity and we have some micro fucking macro sprinkles of wisdom that happen. But it doesn't happen in a day. It doesn't happen in 9 days. Okay. The first snapshot, 90 days. All right. Pressure will start to release. Things will start to happen before that. Okay. But psychological growth pocket, 90 days. Right. So the golden rule of shut the fuck up for 90 days. That's pretty key. Okay. You can find a lot of sources, a lot of things that all support it, right? If you want to go down that rabbit hole, go ahead, right? I can tell you it and just believe it. It works, right? Try it. But that's the thing where you guys here, right? We got SpongeBob and we have not SpongeBob. Don't get that confused. Then we got Sean Boss. Uh, people that we've all grown through things at similar pockets. There's different change we go through, but we would describe it differently. All right. And to us, it may happen in a little different time, but they're very predictable pockets where stuff will be confusing and you're going to feel the mammal part of you makes it not enjoyable, right? It makes you feel nuts. The old system in your head comes back to trick you and it wants you to revert. But that's the same loop that's happened your whole life, right? That's no different than, for the example, driving around, no pun intended, spongy nuts, right? Driving around for 40 years and something pisses you off driving, and then you can just change the way you think about that one little thing. But now maybe that one little thing doesn't bother you as much anymore. You're like, well, wow, I did that for 40 years, right? But every human has those things, right? Whether or not we talk about them or not, right? The things that we think that are so big to us, paralyze us, they're not that big of a deal. Okay. They're not. Once we talk about them, once we get through them, we have clarity. We can laugh at ourselves for the lost time, right? It's not bitter of, oh my God, this, no, it's funny, right? And the best thing, all you can do is laugh at it because you know it's never going to happen again, right? Or you're aware of now when those things kick in, the feelings, what you're thinking, right? All those things hinder growth, dude, right? And if you can't grow at a fast, intense rate when you want, right? And we talk about bumper cars, right? So after enough momentum and growing, dude, you can just put your fucking gas or your foot down on the gas, right? You're going to take off and you can do rapid fucking shit like a superpower. Bang, 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 bang. Take your foot off the gas. Then you can have peace of mind. You can balance. You can be present. You can pivot back to your family. You can pivot. You'll have an off switch and we have enough time of going through stuff, right? Most people don't learn. Okay, they think they've arrived too quick or they never push enough to actually become and make it a lifestyle. Once it's a lifestyle, now it's you. It's totally different, right? Me, guess what? I can go on vacation for a few days. I come back, I'm still me when I come back, right? A lot of people can't do that when they are in the neck of change, right? So if you were pushing through something for brand new and it was 6 months and you're going through this journey and you're working hard and then you went on a 2-week vacation, that's enough to fucking make sure you never did that again. Think about that, right? But if you had just got to a year, you had a shot to make that a lifestyle for the rest of your life. What was the difference there? You just didn't understand you were almost there, right? In a year, it's not really a year, it's 9 months if you were really doing your work. So think about that. If you're 2/3 to the way of having permanent change in your personality and for you, and you just decided that you were good enough and you wanted to cut off your mentorship or whoever was helping you or the Sherpas you're climbing a mountain with, right? There's very few that you stay with to do that. Now you're left to your own devices again. You went away, you went on vacation for 2 weeks or a week, and you come back. Well, guess what happened in that week? Wherever you go, there you be. And there's the old mind, the old system, the old echo chamber, the old you. You are not on the cutting edge of hustling and change and developing it, right? So that's the problem. And when we talked about, I'm glad you brought up pounce. No, right. Nobody should be able to pounce. When you see somebody pounce, your pounces are micro change, right? For one person, I talk about pounce. The pounce might be fucking going to get new toothpaste, so you have it in the morning. It can be that fucking simple, right? But if you are wired to not, you have 5 seconds to pounce it to change. It doesn't have to be this aggressive, let me go fucking take out, David versus Goliath. And no, it's not this big, this social display. Can you do that? Yes, as time goes on, you'll have no problem sorting all that shit, right? But the same way through it, right? Every time you pounce to jump into change, your ability to be in flow with a superpower in those moments is exponentially growing. It's not linear growth. So that's the importance of these people that keep jumping at change and momentum as it's happening, right? That's what's happening. That's what's going on there. So, if people now in this case want to take the bumper car idea in your head, right? You don't keep the pedal down. If you can't keep the pedal down extreme for 9 months straight, right? And there's relief between the 9-month cycle. Okay. You could break it down into fucking days, weeks, months, very predictable stuff that would happen, what you'll be feeling, right? But past the 9 months, man, life is just a whole different thing because your personality is different. You've rewired a new you. So whether and how you take the intensity of it doesn't have to be at the frequency I fucking talk at and deliver and comes out of my pores. It could be for someone else that talks more delicate, softer personality, but the way through it is the same, right? If somebody needs something in a softer message, just turn the volume down, read the wording, get someone else's voice to say it, right? Have your fucking someone else say it in a delicate manner. The way through is the same, right? But I find it hard to believe once you start getting a little chip on your shoulder, right? Mr. Nice Guy to yourself is ever gonna work to get you unscared to go fucking tackle something that you're terrified of, right? Think about that. You're gonna go against a big bad bully. They're telling you gonna beat your ass, right, for 3 years straight, and you're finally cornered and you have to defend yourself. What are you going to say? Oh my God, he's going to fucking kill me. I'm done. Are you going to say, finally, motherfucker, now I'm going to fucking show you, right? And no matter what the odds were, and you destroyed them. Why? Because you channeled the belief and enough was fucking enough. And that's the reality. The same way through a bully is the same way through the fucking demons in your head that hold you back. No idea what all that was. What do you think, Spongy Nuts? Anything to say? We're interactive today.
Not
No?
exactly.
Okay.
No.
All right, so this is what I'm going to do here, okay? I'm going to go through some stuff right here of things that overall stuff that we've covered to date in a quick manner, okay? It's going to trigger some stuff in our mind of how we've gotten to this, all these rabbit holes we've gone down, okay? If any of you have then comments, things, ideas that come back, then talk about it, and we'll go from there, all right? But we've been doing this for what, 6 months straight, 9 months total? Took off a little bit for the holidays, something like that. I mean, I don't know. Do the fucking math. Does that sound accurate?
Yeah.
Okay. And then 5 days a week for how many months? For the most part, right? Fucking 90 days almost, at least 5 days a week, right? For everybody. And still doing it way before that, right? And then getting together in person, right? In the flesh at the diner. All right. So at the end of the day, what we talk about is just basically confidence, self-esteem, authenticity, being a sovereign state, self-governing, talking about signal, right? Not the noise in our head, but the signal which we march to, right? Not being, we don't have signal and we can't be pure signal if we're affected by the social environment that's around us. So if we went back in time, right, what we've really been talking about is building a biological infrastructure designed to dismantle the herd mentality, right? The herd of your house, the herd of your parents that influenced you, the herd of anything around you that wasn't positive, that helped foster an environment of healthy change, belief in yourself, and zero fucks to the top, and tackle change. Fear-based, holding us back, right? When there's other pieces that are a part of that with, survival mode that tucks away that ability, right, as a kid. And then biological exposure matters also, right, to stress. But, so we've talked about literally moving from surviving the bully in your life, the bully in your head, right? The bully anywhere, whether it's a group of them or it's one of them, or it's the echo chamber that you caught as toxic shame from the family system. It's all the same stuff, right? To architecting, basically to being an architect and seeing the social matrix in front of you, right? Whether or not, people, we can't grasp things and grow that quick, but we understand that all these things are connected, right? Whether or not we fully get it or don't, with different pieces of the shit that I'm gonna go over, right? I'll read off. So let's see. When we talk about pushing through, right? The full gambit of evolution of the categories of the rabbit hole of everything we've gone down, right? There's micro wisdom in a macro system. That's what's happened here, right? Micro wisdom all the time going down these rabbit holes, and there's a macro system over the top, which we keep having cure-based, solution-based. It's not remedy focused, right? With remedy focused is the herd, the masses. Whether it's schooling, whether it's traditional therapies, whether it's whatever the fuck 9 to 5 people are doing, it's not the 1%er mindset of self-discovery and defying odds, right? The self-discovery you versus you applies to if you want to maximize your income, if you want to be the happiest person, if you want to break away and just have a new personality, if you want to do something that someone said you could never do. It's all the same formula, right? Some people care about money, some people care about growth, some people care about the high of the change, and it's different for everyone. All right, it doesn't mean that my path through it is the same for anyone. I can tell you if it works at a very high pressure, high intensity fucking situation, just slow it down, it's going to work elsewhere. All right. You can't take someone that can live slow, low stress and put them in a fucking fast paced, maximum velocity environment. Odds are they rattle the fuck apart. You'd be better off learning some high intensity shit and dial it back to what fits you. Right. So there's something about high intensity, maximum velocity growth, right? People will start to see, right? You don't have to focus on assertive boundaries. You become the boundary. Two totally different things. Okay. People that live in stress loops are familiar with them, have to consciously think about setting boundaries, right? But when we actually start to become us at maximum velocity, you are the boundary. You set the safe perimeter. You are the lethal presence just by how you are, because how you operate so fast with everything that you see, a normal, traditional, socially conditioned human being can't. You're talking 120 bits per second to 11 million difference processing speed. They're intimidated, right? It's a very similar situation maybe when someone's taking a motivational speaker is talking at them, and then you say, okay, come up on stage and talk. No one on the stage is going to jump up and go on stage and talk with them, right? There's a good example that you said on the phone today. Same thing, right? So what's happening there is the person is being conditioned in that moment, right? Because you're taking it that way and you're respecting that channel, right? But when you do have enough growth and you have clarity through it, you do have gold to offer, right? But the big thing here is when we offer things, it's not ego-based to stop our own momentum. It's humble, it's fact-based, it helps everybody, it's cure solution onward and upward, right? And we know we're going to keep going. It's different, right? Because the energy of the group, the energy of everything that keeps happening is propelling itself. That's a wild thing, right? What you think about is what you bring about, and your actions reinforce the belief and the momentum. It's all fucking true in there. So, 1 second, sorry. Okay, so phase one. Sorry, 1 second. Sorry. Oh, my dog's still on walk mode. My bad. Not that you guys care about that. Rosie's been on a fucking 36-hour walk, sleeping on the couch. She's fucking active. No one's checking on the heart rate, though. Holy fuck. Superhuman dog covers a lot of ground. All right. Phase one, okay? The biological interrupt, right? Chasing fear as a target. That's how this whole thing started, right? This is literally how this whole shit started, was asking certain questions. How do you undo this, undo that? I was like, well, fuck it, just chase your fears, right? Because I knew if you just chased the biggest thing you were scared of, whatever the fuck else was holding you back didn't mean shit. It was no different than you saying, dude, you're having a panic attack and you can't breathe. Guess what, motherfucker? Go sprint until you're about to die. Guess what you're going to say? You're not panicking anymore. You can't breathe because you're running so hard. You logically understand that. You can't undo it. And jumping into action and physical shit, right? You have chemical transfer. You have things happening in the fucking brain, right? You're reducing the stress hormones, right? Everything we talk about. Jump into action. 20 minutes go by. Stress hormones can then reduce. Stop fucking going crazy in your head. All right, I'll stay on the paper. All right. Chasing fear as a target. Okay, the foundational shift from fear to fear and danger, separating those, right? And then fear to the safe zone. That's the big thing we started this with. So many people misconfused fear and danger, right? And I said, well, hold on, right? Danger's going to hurt you. Fears are fake. Anxieties and worries live under fears. They do blend if we don't test the boogeyman, right? Like, we fucking knew that. That's how this thing started. So I was like, yo, chase your fears, boom, boom, boom. I know that would rewire your brain. That's how that started, right? Understanding that the boogeyman disappears the moment the light of action is turned on. That's a good fucking little long bumper sticker. Right. Next one was your 5-second pounce. It doesn't have to be aggressive. It can be kid gloves. It can be fucking librarian shit if you have to talk that way. But you want to know what? You in the moment to jump into action, you're going to need a little spark under your fucking ass. All right. So if a little energy and a little verbiage bothers people, they got to start with some baby steps of building blocks. All right. But eventually, when maybe getting up to put your sock on isn't the greatest achievable for the day, and we want a little fucking more, all right, we got to amp up the energy transfer for us to do the tasks we have to do. When people are broken and humbled and shattered to the bottom of the fucking sea, look it, can't help everybody on life support, right? Clinical empathy, don't give a fuck, all right? I can't. What I can do is say there's a way out, right? If people can't choose action to put their socks on, if they can't choose action to do other stuff, get the mail, whatever the fuck it is, right? Just to start getting out of their own way, it's a choice not to. I'm not getting stuck in that fucking loop, toxic empathy bullshit. Clinical empathy, we'll talk, we know the way out, it is what it is, right? So are you telling me if somebody chooses to be in the bottom of a well and you threw down a fucking harness, right, on a cable, and you're gonna bring it up, right? But they choose not to get in it. Is it their fault? Of course. Are you gonna go get stuck going down the well? Are you gonna say, look, you gotta fucking get on that to come out. We're gonna pull you up. No, I choose not to. I deserve not to. How long are you gonna wait up there? How long? Right? At some point, it's a choice. Right? You're the Coast Guard. Someone's at sea. Right? You come over. I don't like you. I'm not getting up there with you. Fuck you, dude. Weather's changing. If you want to come out, we're helping you now. Right? What do they say? Well, no, I don't like you. Wait for the next. All right, fuck you, dude. All right, right. At what point? At what point do you sit there? Right. You might try to grab them. It might be what it is. Right. But once you start, your life becomes in jeopardy. Your energy management is questionable. You're losing you. Fuck these people. You can't take everybody with you. Maybe I'm too cold. Maybe I'm too fucking whatever. I don't know. All right. But what I do know is people can't grow at the same rate. So why the fuck am I giving a shit? All right? I'll offer solutions. I'll help people, right? But once they're taking advantage of me, once they're selfish, once I've already learned, okay, it's done, right? Because we're already so in tune with the games that people play when we're focused on growing, because the crabs all do the same stuff to hold you back. Don't care if it's for your money. Don't care if it's for your drugs. Don't care if it's for your fucking baseball card collection. Don't care if it's for your food. Don't care if it's to use your pool in the summer. Don't care if it's to hang out with you to feel more comfortable in a social setting. Don't care. What the fuck are the patterns? Are they a giver or are they a taker? When do they call you? Why? Who wins in the exchange? Instead of following the money, like a detective, why don't we just follow who benefits, right? Think about it like an insurance policy. Every social interaction. Well, who would benefit here if it was this way? Reverse engineer it. You can figure out what the fuck goes on almost anywhere, right? Your 5-second pounce, right? However it is, you have 5 seconds in your head to make the decision that you should versus reverting to the one you should and then going back to what you've always done, which is nothing, right, of the change that you want, and you'll lose time. Next thing was stress loop termination, using physical resets, right? The thermal shock, right? The epinephrine flushes, the things we had talked about, the 20-second reset the half-life of the stress chemicals in your brain, right? Uh, to manually trip the circuit breaker on the generational waterfall of fuckery, basically, right? Because those are the things that happen that start looping and no one's realizing that it was caught like a disease because other people process things similar or contribute to the environment that trigger it or enable it or foster it, right? Next one, caregiver void. Identifying the childhood grooming forces, okay? The childhood grooming that forces energy outward to seek validation. That's the truth. However you want to sugarcoat it, however you want to change the verbiage, right? That's what you're doing. You're looking for something that's been missing from somewhere at some point in time. Because if not, obviously, people would just be crushing life, right? There wouldn't be so many self-help gurus, books, all this fucking shit all over the place, just like instant diets, just like sign up for a gym membership on January 1st and never go. Like every other Cuban, it's a good deal, we're gonna do it. And don't. That's what the herd does, right? It's the same thing. The herd never changes. Lifestyle overhaul people don't do, right? It's less than 3%. So stop. 97% of the people you're ever going to talk to couldn't do shit past a year. Really, could not do shit. Intensely focused with discipline and extreme change. I'm not talking on life support of time going by, of you walking in somewhere. All right. I'm talking about real shit of inner work, defying odds, you versus you, getting lonely through growth, right? And maybe you do have to burn down crabs in the bucket that are the family tree of your so-called safe people. Don't know. That's a unique thing to grow through for an individual. All tied to caregiver void as a kid, dynamic duo, your parents, toxic shame, survival, all that stuff is the same pocket in time in your life. For the most part, is a pattern that people see, which is at least tied to lack of assertive boundaries or having the right people in front of you to help foster the environment. Just because they biologically had you doesn't mean they had any business or rights to have the ability to raise you the way you needed to be. Right, whatever you needed to grow how you had to. Phase two, right? That's now going to come into being a social middle linebacker, basically, like we said. It doesn't matter what happens in life. We're not the quarterback, okay? But we are going to stand up for us, right versus wrong, in social settings. Doesn't matter who's there, the herd of them. It's irrelevant. Right, that was the social tiering. 1, 2, 3. All right. And then authenticity, right? If we're passionately us, 80% of our rooms would think we're too much for them. 20%. Then we work with. Then, as we talked about before, it's probably 10%. Half of that number is what you're going to filter in, right? Now that's what you grow with. You spend time with. They get your energy. They get your authenticity, and you can start to filter through who's really safe for you to be with, right? So I'd say rooms, frames of reality, groups of people, etc. Right? That's where that comes into being very key. The bully, protocol essentially, right? Reframing bullies as narcissists and toxic twos. Of course, that was important, right? If you operate with toxic shame and you have some things that you've done that are so-called really glowing character things, you got taught that behavior most likely. You most likely emulated that from a toxic two in social hierarchy, which is the top layer of the lasagna of tier twos, right? So if you grew up with that bully or narcissist in your house, understanding social hierarchy and tiering is very important for you because that you already grew up with was the biggest example that confused you. And if you can figure out that one, you can figure out anything else. So don't get it twisted. If something seems too much or repetitive in anything that I'm saying here, there's other people that don't see it that way because they had to grow through it. And a lot of times when things are seeming repetitive or holding us back, there's about to be a breakthrough. All right. And you're about to get the clarity, the micro macro clarity from the growth. There's a lot of times, just like when the seed's germinating, as you hear me say, same type of stuff, right? But a lot of times pushing through that, when something seems repetitive, it's before 90 days. It's always going to be before 90 days, and it's tied to other things. And if one thing seems repetitive, you don't understand the waterfall effect of how it's all connected to the layers of the onions and the importance of it. Every grain of sand matters and changes as you have more clarity on things of growing through it, right? And it won't seem that way early on, but trust me, it's that way, right? Everything matters as time goes on because it shifts your perception, your perspective of things, because you know what you've grown through, and you become, you have more and more wisdom every fucking time. And every time you felt a little crazy, and every time you felt bored, and every time you felt, tell me the person that goes to the gym, right? Every fucking time, isn't it boring to go to the gym, to get on the treadmill every morning? Yeah, okay. But they know they have to. That's what they do, right? Then they get there, and then they push themselves harder. And then after 90 days, you want to know what? You want to know the reasons why I really did it and what I learned? Was not those times when I woke up and said, oh my God, it's repetitive, I don't want to do it. Right? The real golden nuggets come after, when they can talk to you from the road walked and paved in blood them fucking selves, and it's 90-day bursts. It's what the fuck it is, right? Very few people can make it 90 days. And if you did it 90 days, you can make it, man. That's the first trimester. That's it, right? And really all it took was 2 days to get there, right? Because at 2 days, you started forming a routine. 2 weeks, it was the habit, right? 90 days, holy shit. That's the psychological fuckery that's happening to you at that point, right? Because then you start to burn off things, and you're old, you start to question, you're lonely, it's all these things, but you have to be lonely before you can be free. That's the truth, right? And everyone tries to be with everybody else to not be lonely. And they're lonely with the crowd. Because everyone cares. What's everyone doing, and who am I supposed to be? And they're never free. Never. So bully protocol, right? Toxic twos, right? Narcissistic behavior, right? The solution is zero entropy. I don't know how you say that. ENTROPY. Entropy, whatever, fucking communication. Right? And it's just like keeping it real and not being affected, and zero fucks, right? Socially indifferent, doesn't matter, right? Social conditioning, fuck you, watch this. Does it bother you? Great. You know what I mean? You can't do this here, watch, boom. Did it affect you? Why did it affect you? Right? I mean, think about that. And everyone's always casting judgments on their own insecurities of the things that they don't want the light shined on in their life, right? Narcissistic fucking behavior. When they do that, they are intrinsically motivated by suppressing and hurting others, right? It's twisted when you see it, right? And when you understand that. And then after that goes on for enough time, now you have contempt, you have an authenticity gap, and real evil comes from that because you're just so far in. Think about it. You're way past the fucking line. I get it. Think about it like anything else. Fuck it. Right? It's never a good time to be honest and look back and be accountable for stuff. Right. So then the next part here is assertive boundaries, right? So the high pass filter, using intensity, not as aggression. This is what people have wrong about me, right? It's not as aggression, but it's a biological filter to ensure only the right frequencies can enter my fucking perimeter, right? And it's their idea to stay the fuck away. And if you've noticed, I'm a walking assertive boundary for the most part, right? And it's their idea to stay away. But why is that? Why is it a walking assertive boundary? It's because I'm not groomed into the social friction, and I'm seeing things very fast that others are waiting for scripts and answers to look around for, right? I can see things instantly and reflect, bang, 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 bang. Other people have to look around, see what it is, right? The only time I'm ever looking around to see is if I say, did this just happen? I'm looking. I know I got a 5-second clock and I'm pouncing, right? But if you people keep jumping into that action, your intuition, your spidey senses, your ability to be fucking spot on and basically correct in every situation, that ability gets much, much stronger, right? And you can flex more personality in those moments with more intensity and all of these things because you know you have recent concrete achievables of pattern recognition in the moment, and you're not socially conditioned and have things that hold you back, right? Everyone that's worried about what others are going to think or do to them can't ever fucking be themselves. That's the truth, right? So you got to remember that intensity is a biological filter, right? It's a filter in, right? It's a magnet, right? For what's safe for others that we agree on, and that's why we connect, right? It's also a boundary of a fuck around and find out, and it's your idea to stay away. And if you happen to get in the demilitarized zone in the middle, you are gonna fucking find out, right? That's what it is. Whether people like it or not. And then you have the social matrix, right? And when you can understand the social matrix, you are developing street doctor ability, street doctor psychology, right? street doctor therapy. That's where you're fucking at. All right. You don't have to go make an appointment. Go wait and see somebody. Ask and get some research. Let's find our remedy and fucking baby step through it. And maybe the stars will align. I can try it again. No, fuck this. Watch. Boom. Holy shit, dude. Do people trust the street doctor? Go all around the fucking world. Go to places that don't have it like we do as a system. Right? Of course they do. Do you give a fuck what it is, or you just want it to work? You went to a street doctor in your life. You just looked at it different. You were sick. You wanted to work. You got to feel better. Okay. Same shit. All right. Right. And then we have, M.I.K.E, our M.I.K.E system protocol, essentially, we want to call it, right? And it's neural architecture, right? Motivate, interrupt, know, execute. Motivate what we want to change against, right? We're going to interrupt the pattern by intentionally, unbiasedly labeling the emotions we're feeling, right? Reverse engineer the patterns and know those, right? And then we can execute to jump into action against that. That's very simple when we do that, right? But anyone can tell you what to do, right? But the key is to know and reverse engineer the patterns, which we found out, right? But then it's having the motivating, inspirational launch pad to jump at the change and not be scared and crippled and paralyzed by it. That's the big thing. Then it's, we talked about transient hyperfrontality, which was just the science of flow, long story short, right? Science of flow, we'll keep that simple, right? Parallel processing versus serial processing, the leap from linear manual thinking, crystallized intelligence to a global supercomputer, right? A state, an island of stability of fluid intelligence that can just jump into the unknown and crush things in the fluidity of now. Two totally different human beings, right? The full spectrum chameleon, the ability to pivot between street energy, raw authenticity, boardroom precision, clinical execution without losing the sovereign core. Isn't that what we talk about? Right? And if you can keep that core, now we can handle all this different shit. Doesn't matter how it's dressed up. Right? And what did we do? We started fucking pilot programs doing this, 7:30 a.m., right? We transitioned from individual growth to leading daily growth shit of, 8 to 12, 10 to 15 people, developing anchors. That's what we're trying to do, right? Sovereign anchors of individuals, right? Membership tier, meaning moving forward in a scalable, just means like time growth pockets, okay, of high stakes community where sharing feelings is replaced with reporting from the top of the mountain of growing. That's the key, right? Fuck your feelings, right? And we have a mission that we stand behind, that we stand and talk from the mountain of growth, right? Feelings hold us at the bottom, right? Talk about the feelings the first time. To isolate the patterns, reverse engineer, yes, they're valid, but you're not going to be a fucking victim. After that, we move forward, right? And then live matrix branding, essentially, of transitioning, right? Of what we do here is we can transition from your personal brand of what has held you back, right, to turning into a master motivator of yourself, where you can honor your fucking quirky, odd, weird self. 0 fucks to the top. Get with it, fuck around and find out, right? Change, maximum velocity for you, right? Which just means change the things that hold you back, that you're scared of a mental prison that can help you rewire a new personality of you that you've never even known your whole life, right? And then, and then the philosophy of sovereignty, 0 fucks to the top, right? The mantra of total indifference of social opinion. That's what it means, right? Fuck everybody. Borrowed identity versus authenticity. Yeah, cover that, right? And stripping away the clothes of social grooming, right? To find the soul that was fucking stored back in the pocket during childhood. That's true. Right? Stored in the back pocket. Sorry, I said that wrong. Right? Exponential stacking. That's what we're talking about here. Well, that's what we're going to get into tomorrow. Right? Stacking. But as we talked about, pushing through and focusing for a 90-day period. Right? And then if we were to look at the evolution summary of that to date, right? We basically are talking about taking individuals, right? And we're starting as individuals fighting the crabs in a bucket, right? And then we turn them into the architect of the bucket. And then we're showing others after that how to dissolve the walls entirely, right? And then we moved from unconscious survival to conscious high frequency dominance, frame dominance, right? We talked about that. You know, we go through the whole gambit here, right? We found ways to weaponize with proper intent to protect, to keep the wolves at bay for us versus us, right? To ensure that we can push through things and get macro wisdom. That's the truth. That's what this has all been about. Momentum and enough time and clarity, and then we can find the new you, the new us, etc. That, I mean, there's other shit I did not that's not even in there, right? But doesn't that sound pretty how this whole thing happened?
Good summary.
I mean, your guys' experiences of going through whatever, what do you have to say on any of that? If, you know, if anything, in whatever words.
Yeah, just when you face your fears and you try to change, you know, you mentioned this on how important it is to, you know, keep it going. I thought once I face this fear and go out and behaviorally change it or do it for the first time ever, I thought that it magically would go away. The trick to it is to keep doing it. It's going to come up almost every day in my life, and I have to face that fear every day. The thing about it is it's gotten less and less over time. And the ones that I've like procrastination that I deal with, I've been dealing with it for about 6 months now. And you know, there's a couple times where you forget or you just give in to the procrastination, and you have to intrinsically be motivated again to not let it go and go backwards, because it will go backwards. So, you know, the hard thing for me to do is to keep doing it every day, because there's not just one thing I'm trying to change. There's many. And you know, when I get tired or I'm bored, it's hard to look into myself for that intrinsic motivation sometimes, because it's so easy to go back to the stress loop that I used to deal with, because it hasn't become permanent yet. It hasn't become routine. It hasn't been repetitive enough. You know, that's one thing I've learned in all this, which you pointed out, Mike, that, you know, it gets repetitive and you're bored. And that's is really when I wanted to quit. And if I would have quit, the things would never happen. Going through all that and getting on the other side is the advantage to all of this. Quitting is just going to let you go back to the same thing, only with the bad part of it. Now it's in your head. You know you can change. Don't give into the procrastination on anything that's changing in your life, because it's very easy to go back into the stress loop. Now that I've been doing it for months and months, there's a lot of things that are gone. A lot of my fears are gone. The fear of talking to women, that's gone. I've had it my whole life. But it takes me dealing with it on a daily basis to keep it going. I have to go over, and there is a little bit of anxiety every time, but it's nothing that stops me, that keeps me, that I don't go down the rabbit hole of the stress loop anymore. I just face it. I deal with it within 5 seconds, and it's no problem anymore in my life. I have confidence now instead of just fear and anxiety. That's it.
Yeah. So you know, it's wild when you go back. It's like you talk about. I remember talking to you in the beginning, right? And it was fear, and you start doing it, and it was very easy because when the person can just wrap their mind around it and jump at the thing that they were being intimidated by, there's giant relief that comes from it. But the thing that goes on is they want to turn around and just say, "It's this easy now. Get away from me." It's like a little kid on training wheels, right? And you got him going, I got it. And mom and dad, no, you don't really fucking got it, you know, because there's concrete pavers up here, there's mailboxes, the sidewalk's not level, right? But the kid wants to always be, no, I got it. Right? Well, that's happening to the individual in different ways within that 90-day period. right?
doubt.
And you have that stuff that goes on. And those moments are, I got it. And they want to slap them away, right? And then your mentor or whoever you're talking to, right? If they don't know how to respect your disguised behaviors, right? As the individual, they might try to stop you, suppress you, put a leash on you, right? At a situation, it breaks. You guys don't have this Gumby relationship where you can evolve together and figure things out, right? So there has to be something when you're talking to people that you can let them pedal on their own long enough, right? But you will step back and come help them through, right? But you don't want to be so sure just to let people slap them away. Because think about how many times you want to tell me to fuck off, right? You don't think I knew you wanted to say fuck off to me? I knew, right? But I also knew what you were going through. But we didn't have to talk about it. You just let the time go, and in a predictable timeline, then clarity sets in. Wisdom hits, right? And then when it hits, because we all do have to grow through things at our own pace and stuff, but when it hits, then you can always like laugh about it after, right? But going through that is gold, because now you never forget what that was like, and you can help others, right? Because there's other pockets of time and tension where others will be going through things just dressed up differently, right?
Yeah.
One thing you had told me before was ego. If someone has an ego, it's not going to work, right? Because whoever it is, and it doesn't have to be fucking, the guy with fucking one lens here, one eye, all right? But ego, you have to be able to get with someone that can help you. And if you can't trust them to help you, and your ego gets in the way, you're never going to be able to get out your own way and get some momentum, right? So even if you do have an ego, you got to just commit to checking the ego for 90 days, right? All right, I'll go back to my ego for life, but for 90 days, if there's one person I was going to trust, if you found that one fucking person, don't fuck it up, dude. Get with that person and trust them, all right? Because what else do you got to lose? You can always go back, right? And remember, you can't be wrong about everything. You can't meet the person, they can't be awesome. They can't be great at all this other stuff that they do for you. They can't be all these other things that you could say. And the narrative changes because some emotions happen in our head, right? And if you said it out loud and played it back, you would laugh at yourself because you already know all the other things that you were saying about the people before, right? This happens in life all the time, right? When people are going through the changes in their head, because there's that neural friction, right? Of the herd, of the family, and then being isolated and being alone. The intrinsic motivation. So I can't read my handwriting. That you bring up. I'm glad you said that, because in life, right, being intrinsically motivated, it's a lifelong journey. You never arrive to that. You never arrive. And that's just like saying in social tiering. I need to know who's I need to know who's a tier 3 so I can be with them for life. The social tiering changes based on who's in the setting, right? That's what's always going to happen. Who's around, this, that, situations like that. Nothing's fixed and permanent. Always be aware of what is changing in the setting, right? The energy, the feelings, the patterns, right? Pattern recognition in human behavior helps you a ton to be able to find the truth. You don't care about anything else. You don't care about social conditioning, and you don't care about the words they say. You are light years ahead. I'll tell you right now, for the words, the 7% of communication, care about everything else about them, right? And know the patterns. And you're gonna guide yourself very easily to rapid change, because you're not getting held back by everything else that has held you back your whole life and holds everybody else back, right? If you look to the herd and what to be, you're never you. Lifelong fears, they go away in a second. That dopamine hit from the first time you face it, that's huge. That's awesome, right? But it doesn't fix it and mean it's gone, right? Stuff's been there your whole lives typically, right? So once that happens, something else can trigger where it comes back, right? But you already know how to deal with it, because there's a 5-second window for the fear to jump into action. It rewires it and it goes away. That's the truth of what it is.
Michael, I gotta go.
Yeah, you're good.
It's time to eat dinner.
Yeah, sabers are on. And then not SpongeBob. You got anything to say? You good?
Nothing.
No, I said not SpongeBob, not you fucking regular SpongeBob.
All good, brother. Thank you. Good meeting today.
All right, dude. See ya.
All right, take care,
Okay. All right, yeah, go Sabers. Peace.
man.